Party's not a party's a man who fights crime, and we're gonna watch him fight for a minute at a time with John and Niall and a guest who doesn't rhyme. It's Bat Minutes!
Hello, everyone, and welcome once again to Bat Minutes and Robin. This is the podcast where we get so busy here, talking about every minute of Joel Schumacher's Batman and Robin, 1 minute at a time. I am one of the hosts, Niall McGowan.
And here to tuck you in at night, it is your other host, John Parker.
Oh. And we have returning from the previous episode, the BrittGirl of YouTube herself, although that's not very politically correct. What about Brit person or Brit woman? We have Brittany Howarth.
Look, in the words of Supergirl, if you have a problem with the word girl, then the problem is you.
Hey. But yeah, we're here today to talk about minute 32 of Batman and Robin. Minute 32 begins with Babs bounding toward a bike, and it ends a minute later with a butler getting tucked in for the night.
Aww. He's cute in this movie.
This is, though, in terms of now, like, we had a little bit of a sprinkling there last minute of an allusion to Barbara Gordon in that, she's into computer sciences. And now her having this instant, like, what is this? Of seeing this motorbike that's there is very much like this is a direct, Batgirl thing. She is synonymous with her motorbike. We got her walking up to it and saying, it's beautiful. And Dick, master of subtlety that he is, it's just like, you say that again. And just, her uncle's right there. Her uncle, or as we were saying last minute, her dad, maybe?
Maybe a dad. This guy needs a cold shower stat.
Yes. Yeah.
Get him out of here. You're doing no good back there.
And he's very much like, I'm running up now to, like, this is my territory. This is where Dick gets in. Where he's just like, I know all about this bike.
Bit of a double entendre.
Oh, you can't not make double entendres with him. Like I know it's childish, but we just walk into them.
And his best friend, Kid Flash. He's got a great name too.
One thing I noticed that he says in the minute, it's like, it's a competition racer. Racer. My mistake. And in the novelization, he says like, it's a Vincent Black Knight, which would be alluding to like, that's the bike he was supposed to be fixing up in Batman Forever. Yeah, which is like, this thing's probably like a rust bucket. It's sat there since 1995. Like, he's supposed to fix up this bike 2 damn years ago.
He's been busy.
It's like, what has he? What's he been doing?
He's been fighting crime.
Guy's not got a job. He's not going to school. He's just flying around the way. Goes out, parties all night with Batman. And
I do genuinely think that's why they changed it. It's like, it makes Robin look lazy. No, genuinely, because I looked up what bike it is, and nobody was 100% sure, but they settled on 99% sure. And when I've done comparison photos, it's definitely this bike. They're right. It is a Honda VLX 600 Shadow. Also known as the VT600C. I know nothing about bikes, so this is all going to be taken from various websites. But it is not a racer, as you might notice from the shape of the goddamn bike. It is a cruiser. It's for chilling out.
That makes so much sense. It's a cruiser, of course.
Yeah. That would be great, though, if she came up and she's like, it looks more like a cruiser to me. And Stick was like,
no, she knew. She was just playing, as we said in the last one, she was in her costume, in her school uniform, pretending to be the sweet girl next door. Knows nothing about motorbikes.
The Malibu Stacy, like, don't ask me, I'm just a girl.
Oh, God. Well, this thing was manufactured for quite a while. It was made in 1988, and they ceased production in 2008. So that's pretty good going. And then in 2003, it was included in a list of America's 50 best bikes. And it said that no better middleweight cruiser could be had for $3,500.
Oh, nice.
And that the engine is asthmatic but runs forever.
Yeah. Wish I could say that about myself.
I was trying to wrap my head around that because it's like, I'm asthmatic. I can barely run. So, runs forever?
Yeah, it doesn't really make it sound like this is the bike for you. It's the engine's asthmatic, but beyond that,
obviously, it's a middle sort of the road bike. It's $3,500. It's all right. It's pretty good. So you're not going to get the best engine, are you?
I don't know.
Maybe that's why he's doing it up. He's putting a better engine on it. That's what people do. I've got details on the engines, but it means nothing to me.
All that stuff is like even if we had like a gear head on, if they started talking about the engine, I'd be like, my brain would just switch off. It's like, I don't know anything about it.
I wrote it down with no intention of reading it. It's like liquid cooled V-twin. That's Jesus.
Oh, it is liquid cool. That's a term they should just use all the time. It's liquid.
The bike with 2 wheels can take you anywhere. The cruiser
See, that's all you need on the advert.
middle of the range.
The thing is, though, as I briefly mentioned there in the green room, as it were, the thing that struck me about the bike is that it's purple. There's a subtle purple color, which of course is the color of Batgirl's bike from the '60s TV show. And
I thought you were going to say for Grimace from McDonald's.
Oh, also him. Yeah.
But it's so cool you bring that up because Yvonne Craig is the first time Barbara Gordon is even mentioned. That's her origin point, and people loved her so much that she came in $1 million debut of Batgirl.
Yeah, that's right. Actually, yeah, the birth of Barbara Gordon as a concept, that is a bit of corporate synergy, as it were, because one of the story editors, Julius Schwartz, was he had previously gotten rid of Betty Kane and Kathy Kane. He declared them to be like old fashioned, and it's like, no one's interested in them anymore. Just got rid of the characters, and then after the second season of the Batman TV show is on, he's been sort of pressured by the TV execs and stuff of like, well, you bring in like a female element into the things here. Maybe a new female superhero of some sort.
What?
That we can adapt into our TV show. And then William Dozier, the producer of that show, suggested making her Jim Gordon's daughter. And then him and the show producer, Howie Horowitz, they went to the DC offices and they'd seen that Carmine Infantino had drawn up some concept art of Batgirl. The new non-hyphened Batgirl, as it were. And then they went to ABC and they sold the third season of renewing Batman, the TV show, on the strength of, we're bringing in this Batgirl character. And so you get, in Detective Comics 359 of January 1967, is the $1 million debut of Batgirl, as you alluded to there, Brittany. And then in September of that same year, enter Batgirl Exit Penguin. The first episode to feature Batgirl came out. So it was very much like we're building but the thing is, like, that in many ways you'd be like, that's a very capitalistic, very corporate way of building a character. But then Barbara Gordon is still, to this day, one of the most beloved characters in DC Comics.
And she shares a similar story in that sense with Harley Quinn, because Harley Quinn came through in the animated series and people loved her so much on that split-second introduction of the episode. I've forgotten which one, but they loved her so much she had to come back. And so between Barbara Gordon and Harley, it's just taken a moment on the screen to have a lifetime in the pages.
Yes, sometimes good things can be born out of business enterprises, basically.
Sometimes, even if they have, the intention of just making money out of it, this is often there will be a good upside.
Yeah. One of the things should mention, though, in the area they're standing in here, this whole garden, this is a new location they're shooting at. It's not the garden to the mansion that they shoot, the interiors of Wayne Manor in. This is Greystone Mansion in California, and it is the AFI building now, the American Film Institute. And it's got a very storied history, this building. It's beautiful. Like, it's been, apparently the inside staircase is like one of the most viewed staircases of all time because it's been used in so many movies and stuff.
You think you'd stop using it then? Like, it's been done.
That's one of those ones, though. Like, until someone pointed it out, I was like, oh, no, that was the same one. Because this, not these grounds, but like the whole building features in, weirdly, a razor head. Which is like, I don't remember that from a razor head.
No, I'm racking my brain. What? Is
like,
it
I thought a razor
be...
head was made in like the friggin' David Lynch's apartment in like an alley outside. I didn't think he went to a friggin' Greystone mansion.
Yeah, I suppose there's that. Oh, what could it be? Could it be the scene where the titular eraser head is born? Because there's like a big, like almost like a court.
I don't know.
It's like a big space which you don't have a lot of in the movie.
Yeah, but I mean, because it's like, oh no, it's just one of like the mounds of dirt outside. We dug up the garden one day, and David Lynch came in and filmed something there. But it also features in Death Becomes Her, Cabin Boy, of course, produced by Tim Burton, Austin Powers Gold member, the I'd Do Anything for Love music video, Ghostbusters 2, all the Spider-Man. The Sam Raimi Spider-Man movies. So I'm thinking this must be like Norman Osborn and Harry Osborn's pad.
Yeah.
Would be, and it's also, it's the Xavier Academy in the X-Men movies as well. But the one that really got me, and when they mentioned about the staircase, I was like, of course, is that this is Chilton from the Gilmore Girls. The school that Roy Gilmore gets sent to, and it's the whole crux of the first couple of seasons. And when they mentioned like the stairs, I was like, oh, that's right, there's a big freaking scene where like Paris Geller stares her down standing on these very domineering steps. And I was like, that's the staircase they're talking about. There you go. So that totally makes sense. But the history of Greystone Mansion is it's got an insidious past because it was built way back in 1929 for $4 million, which would be $60 million in today's money. And basically, it was gifted by an oil baron to his son and his son's wife, Edward Duhaney Jr. And within 4 months, he had been murdered.
Whoa.
Oh dear.
He had been murdered by his secretary, Hugh Plunkett. And it was a murder-suicide.
Oh, but I thought you were going to say murdered by his secretary, Selena Kyle.
Oh, if only. Oh, perfect synergy right there.
I was waiting for Etta Candy, but oh well.
But the thing is, it's one of those ones where, like, this mystery murder-suicide, no one knows what might have happened. And it's like, as soon as you read it, you're like, I know exactly what happened. Is that, like, oh yeah, his wife found them. And like, oh yeah, murder-suicide, totally. And then people, when the press got there, and again, this is the press from, like, 1929, they're going like, oh, but the guy who committed suicide was shot in the back of the head. So why would you shoot yourself in the back of the head?
That's almost impossible, I would imagine, to get right. You could easily do it wrong.
And so it's like, oh, now the mystery is like, oh, maybe some sort of weird kerfuffle and, something, maybe there was a different gunman there and all this kind of stuff. And then it sort of, as the more you look into it, it's like, oh yeah, his wife also, when they were shot, they shot dead. And she called a doctor instead of the police. And it's like, oh, maybe something else was happening. And could it be that these two guys were having an affair?
And they
she
were
found
lovers.
them. And they were lovers. And she killed them both. And maybe back in 1929, they were like, the oil baron's father wouldn't be like, I don't want that coming out about my son. So, yeah, it's a murder-suicide. That's what happened. The guy didn't get a raise. That's why he killed my son. Well, when nowadays, it would be blatantly obvious that, like, yeah, they were probably having an affair. And she killed both of them.
So we've solved a crime here on the show, people.
You sure
That's
this
what
isn't
we
a
do.
crime podcast?
Well, we can pivot into a true crime thing. That they get big numbers.
We tried to solve the Natalie Wood murder during the Batman Returns season, and now we've cracked this friggin' Greystone Mansion thing.
And now we're taking over from Serial. We're the new true crime pod on the scene. We're gonna get people freed from jail and all kinds of things.
We can call ourselves the greatest detectives, the Dark Knights who say no.
Hey.
Hell yeah, there you go. It writes itself. This is all perfect.
But the thing is, I got all excited then. It's like, oh, there are ghosts in Greystone? Like, apparently there are, but it's all very dull. Like, oh, people have seen men walking down the corridors and stuff. I'm like, oh, come on, give me more than that. It's like, it'd be great. Like, you watch the movies, like, oh, there's ghosts in all the friggin' movies. Like, the ghost in the background of this scene. You just see a guy standing waving behind Alfred or something.
Ghosts aren't there to perform for your pleasure.
Duh.
They've got stuff to do. They're busy.
Well, that ghost from 3 Men and a Baby. That ghost kid knew where it was at. Get yourself on camera. Become a legend.
I've always wanted to see a ghost just doing something really boring, like it's, I don't know, tying its shoes or eating some popcorn.
Catching up on the news.
Yeah. Like, why are they always... There's a meme about this. Why are they always, like, Victorian? I want it to just be some modern, kind of annoying gym bro.
I think when it comes to, like, millennials, I think they just want to yeet. They just want to go. So I'm not going to stay on this planet any longer. I'm done. I'm good.
Yeah. I have no unfinished business. I just want to be free.
I'm done. I'm done the day I was born, honey.
I kind of think like a lot of them are like Victorian people of wealth. They're like, I'm not leaving my money behind. They're like, I'm staying right here. Whereas everyone else now is just like, get me off this goddamn mortal coil. Like,
take me.
Oh, so basically there'll be a ghost of Bruce Wayne because he's wealthy. He doesn't have to be Victorian, but we don't know when it's set. This could be Victorian era in goddamn Batman. Who knows?
Oh god, yeah, literally no friggin' idea.
I swear, one day we're just going to see like the Jetsons plane go through the cities because Gotham. What is Gotham time?
Yeah. And you won't question it. You'll be like, okay.
Yeah, makes sense. Well, I mean, pretty much with Mr. Freeze's flying things, kind of does. Yeah, that kind of happened.
Yeah, basically. But then you still get like cars that look like from the 30s, and it's amazing. I love it, but it makes no sense. It's great.
I do kind of want to get like a cut up video now of like the Jetsons theme with Mr. Freeze taking off, and it's like, meet Victor Freeze, Nora, his wife. It's just cutting to her in that tube.
Actually, it looks so cute, especially with all the intros that they did for One Division. Could definitely create some really great intros with that.
Oh yeah. Oh, there you go. That's DC's like, oh, we're doing WandaVision, but now it's like it's
Mr.
Nora's tube dreams of her and Victor like having a happy life, but actually she's frozen inside the cryogenic thing.
There you go, Nora Vision, easy done.
Yeah, perfect. And then when like everyone will be like, are you not just blatantly ripping off Marvel now? Usually a bit more subtle than this.
Now, both of these companies have a history of unsubtly ripping each other off. Black Cat, Marvel.
I think at this point, though, that would be just like shameless. They have to be like, well, obviously it blew up in our face when we tried to build our own universe like the Marvel guys were doing with the movies. And then, so now we just had to opt out. We just go, yeah, we're doing a TV show now. And it's also riffing on old sitcoms. Mm-hmm. And it's also kind of like a Vision weird, dream state thing going on.
Who cares? Do it. In the minute as well, we get another. I never picked up on this until analyzing the movie because I'm slow. We get another double entendre. Dick, when she sees the bag, he offers to teach her to ride.
Yeah,
and I've never picked up on this. It's like, oh, and he says it in a very suggestive manner. It's like, oh no, this is supposed to be a sex metaphor. And either way, no matter the meaning, Alfred is not having it.
No,
he's not happy if you're sleeping with her or if you're teaching her to ride a bike. He's like, no.
That's everything about Alfred's actions in this, because he is really like, oh, we get so busy here, and he looks blatantly. You can see on his face. I'm surprised Barbara's not like, oh, he clearly doesn't want me here. But it's also like we as the audience might be like, oh yes, because Batman is in the building.
Yeah.
But it could also be this, I don't want Dick Grayson near my niece / potential daughter.
Like, oh, I don't trust that kid.
This would be very much like, oh, I'll be putting separate wings. Yes, you can stay down. You can stay in the pool house.
Honestly, I don't blame him, because if you look at when he got engaged to Starfire, guess how he gave the invitation to Barbara Gordon?
Oh my God.
He slept with her.
Ah!
In the morning, hey, Barbara, I'm getting married. Here's the invite.
Oh, Jesus. Oh my God. See, there you go. Do not trust this guy.
He
might be good in a fight, but he's not even good in a fight. He's not good for anything. Get rid of him.
I am, because the purple bike also reminds me of the Prince's bike in Purple Rain. So it would he's like, oh, I'll take you out to Lake Minnetonka.
No,
and then but he takes her out there, and then Barbara tricks him getting off the bike, and then she's just like, that ain't Lake Minnetonka, and just zooms off and Dick's competition racer.
Yeah, why not?
And she's like, it's a cruiser, by the way. And she's like, way in the distance.
It's a cruiser, loser.
Oh, that's the sort of writing you need in this movie. It fits
Like a
really well.
Shangri-La song.
Great words. Ivy had some very amazing one-liners about the sowing oats, sowing seeds, or whatever. Goodness.
Every line in this movie is gold. In a good way and in a stupid way.
I feel like they picked up a thesaurus and threw it out the wall and it's like, that's it. That's the script.
We get another great one here because, Bruce offers her a place to stay. And she goes, oh, all this luxury really isn't my style. But yeah, I'd love to. It's like, oh, go on then. Spoil me if you must. It's like a stupid line, but I love it.
I took it as sarcasm.
Like, oh, yeah. It is kind of sarcastic. It's like, if you don't say that to this random guy, millionaire, billionaire you've never met before.
Well, she's going to, milk him for all the money he's worth because she thinks that they're treating Alfred horribly. So why not? Ruin the mansion. Go in there. Steal the books from the library.
To be fair, from our experience, they are treating him horribly.
Yeah, 100%.
They still, minutes ago, they expected this elderly man to quickly run up the stairs and get the door when the bell went. It's like standing feet from it.
Yeah, it's like, you're right. You're there. Whoever's closest to it gets the door.
Well, they could just give him an electric scooter. Seriously.
Yeah, he's clearly too old to be doing half of these jobs. Just keep him around for the sake of, loyalty. You don't have to make him do everything.
I feel like that's just turning him into a pet.
Yeah.
I will say though, when she says all this luxury isn't really me, it's like, what, do you live in some kind of decrepit hovel at Oxbridge?
Yeah.
You go to the fanciest university in England. It's like, I'm pretty sure they put you up in pretty sweet digs while you're there.
She's not living like most students in a hovel.
Yeah, she's not probably oh yeah, I got noodles plastered to the wall and my bed is half made of crust now.
And there's a leak in the ceiling dripping on my face at night. Yeah.
My university halls were essentially whenever I watched the TV show Porridge, which was about a UK prison. It was just this kind of feels like I'm in Porridge now. It's just bunk beds. Actually, no, we didn't have bunk beds. That was where they drew the line. We had our own rooms. But it was just little plain painted stone with no primer or anything. It was
and you had a minder who let you out in the morning. You weren't allowed to leave.
Pretty much. There was a guy who was there to guard everything and stuff.
I think we solved the mystery of the leaf then, because she's probably thinking, oh, this luxury, I need to stuff my clothes full of leaves so I'm warm for the night.
Yeah.
That's where she came from.
You've uncovered it. We know what's happening now.
You got her with a little flat cap and a little bit of soot on her cheek. She's like, that's what I'm used to back in England, so...
Well, I guess it's more exhaust than soot. But have you noticed that, whenever they're dirty from riding the motorbikes, they've got all this, muck on their cheeks and downwards down to their, jaw, but nothing around their eyes. And so it's shouldn't it be around their eyes? That's where the motorbike helmet opens up.
Yeah, that doesn't make a lick of goddamn sense.
It's they have to wear that black eye makeup for so many other scenes. Give the eyes a rest for this one bit.
Give the skin a break, yeah.
But, You touched on it, Niall. Bruce. It's interesting that he is inviting her to stay when he's got this giant secret nobody's supposed to know. Why are you exposing yourself? That is not a double entendre. Why are you exposing yourself, Bruce? Don't invite a complete stranger. I know she might be related to Alfred, but still, you don't know squat about her.
It almost feels like it's out of spite because Alfred had a secret. And he's like, oh. Keeping secrets, why doesn't she stay here? And we can all get to know her, can't we, Alfred?
He just wants to just stay up talking to her all night. Tell me everything.
Yeah. And Alfred's like, just let me have one thing that's not yours, sir. Please.
This is mine now.
When we look at it, though, you've got Robin and Batman just pining over Poison Ivy. But you could maybe in this scene link it to the comic books where Batman has a relationship with Barbara Gordon, and it is the worst storyline in history. I will put that out there right here. But you've got that in the this is where creative freedom that I was mentioning in the last podcast. This is where the creative freedom needs to die. I think it's the prologue to The Killing Joke, the animated movie, and they decided to introduce that from the Batman Beyond comics, I think it's from, where they had the relationship. So they're like, yeah, let's put it in this animated movie and have a bit of, something a bit on the edge. It's just not okay. And so I guess maybe you could have that in here, hinting at that from the comics.
But that I remember that really drastically sitting wrong with people, where the idea of Batgirl and Batman having sex, because you always see him as like a father figure. So it's like, what are you doing, Bruce? And particularly because it's coming from Bruce Timm, like the guy who made the Batman animated series. He's the one who seems to have the real, like, no, this is the way it is. It feels almost like a betrayal. like, dude, don't be doing this. Don't keep doing it. Like, we trusted you so much, and what are you doing with it? You made Batman into like a monster now. I mean, no one wants it. It feels like he's taking advantage of like this young girl, but he's like supposed to be so much older than her and stuff. But at the same time, though, I did actually rewatch the first episode of Yvonne Craig. You know, they enter Batgirl, exit Penguin from the '60s TV show, and again, in talking about like, oh yeah, where Batgirl's introduced to detract from the homoeroticism that could be inherent in these characters. The opening scene is Bruce and Dick talking about them going to the opera with Commissioner Gordon and Chief O'Hara. It's like, you're going to the opera.
That's an interesting date.
Yeah, and then Bruce goes, like, Commissioner Gordon is bringing his daughter as my date. And it's like, are you trying to say it as your beard? Like, it's like, oh, 4 guys going to the opera together. I was like, oh yeah, we've got this woman here, so Bruce Wayne is totally straight.
Yeah, we got to get a chick in there. It's a sausage fest. Yeah.
I don't think there's anything else to do in Gotham though, but to see opera or to see movies, because they're just going to the theater constantly. I mean, how many times have we seen Bruce Wayne's parents die because of a stupid opera?
It's a good point, actually. Like, that's another thing that makes the era, the time very confusing, because, you know, I'm not knocking the arts, but how often do people actually go to the theater and the opera in this day and age?
It's too expensive.
Well, Jesus Christ, it is. Yeah, that's one of the number one things. Right, and they keep going. We need to get young people at the theater and at the opera. Maybe reduce the prices.
I just realized. Hang on, too expensive. Bruce Wayne, millionaire. I mean,
but two other
probably
people.
Why he goes is just like money. Throws it onto the stage.
Yeah.
That's why Joe Chill's outside. He's just like, oh my god, this is the family that got tickets to Hamilton. Like, they'll be good for a couple of quid.
Do they have a couple of extra tickets? Let's see.
To be fair, I would mug and shoot someone for tickets to Hamilton. So
that'd be great. Like, yeah, the Matt Reeves Batman, instead of the pearls around Martha's neck, he's snatching the Hamilton tickets out of her hand.
And the program slowly falls to the ground and opens up on David Diggs. Just...
Every time Bruce Wayne sees Lin-Manuel Miranda, he's just haunted. He's everywhere now. I can't get away from this guy.
You've just written Flashpoint. That's why Bruce dies in the Flashpoint Gotham universe. Is because they have tickets to Hamilton, and they're like, take our son instead. And they throw him in front.
Oh, it's perfect. There you go.
Oh, man.
And now I want Lin-Manuel to play Bruce Wayne.
Yeah.
Oh.
Have a nice beat to it.
I mean, Michael Keaton... He didn't seem the type, but so yeah, why not Lin-Manuel Miranda as Batman?
Let's do it.
But yeah, so then we do get Bruce very heavy-handedly doing this. Oh, she can stay here. After all, Alfred, she's family.
Are you sure?
and it does have like a nice little. I think that's a nice little nod to the Bat family, because they are, that's what's going to be happening. They are going to become family.
Well, and also I had the thought, like, you said he's doing it out of spite, Bruce, but he could also, is he plotting already to create yet another sidekick? He's like, well, this kid ain't working out, so I need another one.
Yeah, he might be like, for the love of God, get this Robin asshole away from me. If I can get rid of this guy and get her in his place.
It's like Palpatine with Vader and Luke.
Well, he could have really been planning ahead and looking at it. It's like, okay, well, if she responds to Dick's advances, then maybe, she could be straight. She would be a great defense with Poison Ivy.
Oh,
planning that far
there you
ahead.
go.
He's playing a long game.
That's how good a detective is. He knows all about Ivy already. It's only just happened.
The rubber lips save the day.
Mm-hmm.
That's the thing, though, with because Barbara she also comes out as well, though, with her line like a couple of seconds before. Dick is like, oh, I'll teach you how to ride sometime. And Alfred's like, oh, you certainly will not. Because
That's
presumably
what made me think it was an entendre. Like,
oh, my stars and garters. But then again, Barbara's like, oh, don't worry, Uncle Alfred. Like, I'm terrified of these things. And it's like, why? What is the compulsion for lying with these people? Like, Why can't she just come in with her leather jacket and be like, "Oh, I'm just really into bikes"?
Because he's a nice, sweet old man. She doesn't know he's involved in the Batman stuff. She thinks he is just a nice butler. You don't want to worry him. It's a granddad. You want, everything's nice, everything's fine. School's going great.
Always those weird pictures of like, an emo kid with their grandparents where it's just like, this looks so drastically out of sorts.
Yeah.
Like this massive cross-generational divide here. But
this is funny because she is actually such a hypocrite in this moment. She is playing the exact role that Poison Ivy is playing throughout the whole thing, by playing, the strong femininity and manipulating men to my will. And so she's saying, it's 21st century, grow up. But she's doing exactly the same thing in this scene. They've written Barbara as a hypocrite.
Well, there you go. That's why she's wearing the schoolgirl outfit. It's really, look at me, I'm just a helpless schoolgirl. Oh, there's nothing hidden about me.
It is also, again, it's quite fetishistic as well. It's just like, I'll win my way in with my. It's like, this isn't even the uniform from Oxbridge. It's just like, but I'll win over these two testosterone-driven nutjobs.
I genuinely think there is a touch of that. It's like, well, you won't assume anything about her. They'll just think, she's just this cute schoolgirl. What could she be up to behind the scenes?
This almost is like a kind of weird. It's like almost elevates it to like heist levels, where like she's there to rescue Alfred, but she disguised herself as a schoolgirl to get in.
Well, it's the start of Ocean's 11.
Oh yes.
Yeah. Well, George Clooney's right there. Maybe she learned it from him.
Yeah, that's amazing. Yeah.
She learned from the best. But then we cut to the evening, then, don't we? And Alfred is at his computer playing League of Legends. Actually, he's browsing the internet. Very 90s internet.
Very devastated that he's not in a gamer chair. No. He was one of those you see in every goddamn Twitch channel.
Yeah, he should be a modern version of him. Make him a Twitch streamer on the side. That's what he does at night.
We're over for a big penny, and we're talking about the new Resident Evil DLC.
Oh goodness, his gamer talk would be, he'd be like Shakespearean insults. He would just be heartbreaking if you're on the other side of it.
Oh my God,
God bites my thumb at you.
I now want a Twitch streamer to go, you know what? I'm gonna assume the identity of Alfred Pennyworth. I'm gonna do that as my gimmick now.
It's either that or like this is his podcasting chair. Like we know from Batman Returns, he was DJ Pennyworth.
Yeah,
we see him with the headphones helping out Bruce infiltrate the Oswald Cobblepot's broadcast. But like, it's like he just stuck with it. So now like, this week I have Lex Luthor is joining me to smoke weed live on.
I love the way you've decided his podcast is basically Joe Rogan's podcast.
Yeah, he's just it's the alt-right Alfred podcast.
Have you ever done DMT?
Podcast. He's got his super chats on, so every couple of minutes he has to go, thank you, by the way. Makes live streams unbearable to listen to. It's like, stop talking to people I can't see.
And Joe Rogan has that fellow who works with him who always gets up the information for him. You know, he's like, so-and-so pull it up. Whereas here, he could be like, Barbara, pull that up for me.
And the thing is, Alfred is so sassy. So I feel like if he had anything, it would be between two ferns and he would just be tearing apart whoever's in the chair next to him.
Oh my God, yes. See, this is why we need more. People need to be less precious about, we need a new movie and it has to follow the comics and it has to be serious. It's like, no. Do a million different Batman properties. Just spiral everywhere like Marvel are now doing with the TV shows. Do everything. Make that. DC, make that show. Do it now. What just are they on HBO now?
Do it.
Alfred reviewing like the list of riddles that the Riddler has done. Yep. It's like a golden dump truck, really. That's your answer. Well done.
See, that would be great because comics aren't afraid to do it. You get comics all the time that are just crazy one-shot things.
I mean, Alfred would be a guy. He seems the type. He would be sitting reviewing like cleaning products. You're like, yes, I understand they've changed it to Jif now. Well, I always knew it as Sif. I'm 98 years old. I'm not changing now.
You get old people like that when they change products in England because England has a habit of just to be jerks. I think changing the name of something that's known as a different product the world over. England's like, no.
That's the kind of weird thing. It was like, I think prior to the creation of Nightwing, Batgirl I think that was a lot of the appeal. She had the kind of, jokey around kind of sassiness and the sort of like, not taking the crime fighting too seriously all, to be like a dark and broody like Batman. The stuff that would become synonymous with Nightwing as Dick Grayson grew older. I think you can kind of see it in like early Barbara Gordon, because even in that first episode where she's introduced with Yvonne Craig, what was she has the exact line is like Batman's sort of admonishing her for putting her for cracking wise while she's beating up villains, and she says, "Crime fighting is a serious business to me too, Batman, but we might as well get a few laughs out of it as well." And it's like, oh yeah, I guess maybe she was supposed to be the more lighthearted hero, because Robin at that point was a little dweeby, goody two shoes kid next to adult brooding Bruce Wayne. So I don't know if she's been like Nightwing kind of then overshadowed her in some way, or maybe I'm way off. Maybe I'm like, that's not the point of the character at all.
No, that's a really cool take you've gotten on the character. When she's in the comic books, she's very much the girl next door, but she also, because her origin story, like any character, is done a couple of times over, she does not take any crap from Batman. So one time she decides she's going to have her own grapple rope, and she leaps off a building, and Batman throws a batarang and cuts the rope on her. She has to be saved by Dick Grayson. And this is because she hasn't done the maths, so the rope would actually dislocate her arm because she hadn't done the maths properly. And so he, in the end, saved her life. But he's being a jerk about it. So there's this whole thing where Robin plays the game. He kind of works to Batman's rules, whereas Barbara's like, no, I don't have to. I'm going to do what's right, do what's good, and I'm going to wear this symbol because I can. Whereas Batman's pushing back. It's like, no, you got to earn this symbol. And she does. He's just being a stubborn so-and-so because he didn't choose her. She chose the job.
The thing is, the more the Bat family grows, it just becomes more and more apparent. Like, oh yeah, Batman's like a total dick. Like,
he is, yes. He is, absolutely.
Not a Dick Grayson, but he's the other type of dick.
Yeah.
Must be so weird every time Dick Grayson wants to insult Batman when he gets older and has arguments with him. He's like, oh, don't be such an asshole, I guess.
It'd be weird if everyone else trying to insult Dick. I mean, what do you do?
Don't be such a Richard.
Yeah.
Dick.
Yeah.
But yeah, so we get Barbara sachets into the room here. As Alfred's, presumably hiding all his browsers from all the other things he's been looking at. Oh, shit!
League of Legends, XXX.
Yeah, because he's looking up the Maharaja of Mirajanpur.
That was such a weird B story.
Too.
It'd be great, though, as she starts talking, you just hear from the computer, like, looking to meet hot singles in your area.
Oh, this just popped up on the screen. I don't know what
Oh, it's a virus.
I don't know how this happened.
It's like, Uncle Alfred, is this like those times you always had to call me to get viruses out of your computer? I don't know what happened.
I'll tell you what, though, I'll praise one thing. They've got some good internet for the 90s. Those videos load quickly.
I mean, that computer looked really nice too. It looked slick. Yeah. Oh my God, I had a brick probably on my desk at that point. In fact, 20 bricks.
Yeah.
That's what the computers around that time looked like.
Look at the monitor that he's using. I had never seen a flat screen monitor like that at the time.
Slick.
Yeah, that's wealth.
Lucius Malfoy working in the background. Not Lucius Fox. Oh, Harry Potter just jumped right on in there, guys.
Crossover movie coming soon.
Yeah. But yeah. We'll be in this room for the next minute. So, does anyone have any notes for minute 32 they want to bring up in particular, or should we hop on over into the next one?
No, I'm noted out. We can let Barbara come and tuck him in.
Yeah, that was so weird.
That's very weird.
Yeah, what?
We'll particularly too, he's an old man. Let me tell you, a lot of blankets, like the old people. So he should be tucking for about 5 hours.
A heated blanket, all kinds.
Oh man, it's like I used to work in an old folks' home, and it's just like, like you think your skeleton would be crushed under the weight of all these damn blankets.
Hey, that's the trend lately, isn't it? Weighted blankets.
Oh, they are so amazing.
Are they good? Yeah, I've heard they're great.
I love them.
Anyone.
But yeah, shall we hop on over to minute 33?
Sounds good.
Yeah, let's do it. We're out of here, suckers.
Next time, where on earth is Wilfred Pennyworth? Miss Wilson walks into her uncle's sanctuary and finds an interweb inquiry is well underway. A manservant has turned manhunter in the search for his brother. But will a peculiar picture beside a pachyderm aid the situation of Alfred's frustrating floating court investigation? It's Just the Facts on Friday, Bat Chums. Same Bat Pod, different Bat Minute. We'll be back.